devas. They're much more. And you see, we are different in another way in that we don't have fear of our gods. You know, though nowadays, of course, people do say it, I'm a very God-fearing person, but we have 9 forms of bhakti, 9 forms of relating to God. We can treat God as our parent, we can worship as our mother, father, we can treat God as a child.
Okay.
You know, many of them, they, Bala Gopala, Bala Rama, they treat it like the baby. You can treat it like a brother or a sister. You can treat it as a friend. You can even treat it as a spouse. I don't recommend that form of spouse, as a husband or a wife.
As a lover, basically.
Yeah, no, as a husband or a wife.
That is
The
one
lover
form
is
of bhakti?
different.
That is
That's
one
one
form
form
of
of
bhakti?
bhakti. The lover is different from the
Spouse.
spouse. You know, so we have all these multiple ways of relating, and in none of these ways fear comes into it. You know, so it is not a something that we are afraid of, and there is something even more unique. You see, in almost all the other cultures which had gods, the gods were very tyrannical.
Yes.
You know, and they were very capricious. Shakespeare in King Lear has very famously said, and I mean it's the best, it's the two-liner definition of humans' relationship. As flies to wanton boys are we to the gods, they kill us for their sport.
Oh.
Say that again.
As flies to wanton boys. Wanton means irresponsible, stupid. As flies to wanton boys are we to the gods, they kill us for their sport. Now, our gods can't do that, because the universal law that functions in India, the law that holds the universe together, there is only one law actually in the universe, and that law is not gravity, that law is karma. All actions have consequence.
That is the law.
That is the law that holds the universe together, and the gods are not exempt. We are the only culture in the world, where a human being can turn around and curse a god. And the curse
Will have an effect.
that curse has an effect. We are the only culture, and that is something unbelievable. That is something extraordinary. Most other cultures are like what Christopher Hitchens has described as, you know, that your relationship with this God is like living in this totalitarian society where you have to obey the rules, you have to fear him, and you have to love him. You know, and there is God the Father, and then there is usually also one substitute for him, either his son or a representative. So there is the great leader and the dear leader. He said like living permanently in North Korea. Because the founder used to be called the great leader, and the guy who just died used to be called the dear leader, you know. So he was like, that's not the way to live. And you see, because man is important, it is perfectly possible in India to be hugely spiritual and to be completely atheistic. You don't have to believe in the gods. You don't have to in any way accept the notion of a divine creator or any such thing. No, there were multiple, the Charavakas were atheists, the Ajivikas seem to be atheists. Buddhists and Jains, their notion is very much that the gods are not important. In fact, the Hindus abandoned the Vedic gods because they became so closely associated with the Buddhist and the Jain cultures, you know. And that is why the Hindus abandoned the Vedic gods and then created all this Vishnu and Shiva and Durga, and they created new mythologies. That's another story for another time.
Because they were connected to Buddhists.
Too much. All the Vedic gods had become completely subverted, because Buddhism and Jainism were not really different. You know, they were just another paramparas, they were just another systems, but they were part of the culture. It's only later that they became distinct religions, but they had become subverted. So the differentiation was not possible anymore. So as a reason, we abandoned the Vedic gods, or the Vedic mythology, I should say, and we created new mythology. We created new mythology with gods who are like hinted and alluded in the Vedas, you know, Shiva, Rudra,
Vishnu.
You know, there is only once in the entire Vedas the word Shiva is used. You know, even though Rudra Shiva is the secret god in the Vedas, and Indra, Vayu, Agni, Mitra, Varuna, they are his 5 aspects and his 5 functions. So that is the only yogis understand that. They immediately read the text from another level and they understand that. No, but fundamentally Vishnu is a solar god of not very great prominence. Things like that. So new kind of, and old gods like Ganpati and Skanda, you know, Kartikeya, Kumara, who were marginalized, they became more and more important. So it's a very fascinating process, which only again goes to show that the gods are really not that important.